Hi there, this is Rob Baard, creator of the Ninja Universe, with the director's commentary for the first short film, Ninja Prelude. The Prelude was a short film made to help showcase the concept of the Ninja series, now known as the Ninja Universe. It was filmed in 2010 on a $300 budget over 4 days. The story begins with a device known as the GT440, which appears throughout the series, being set off. My character, Reeve, aka the Ninja, comes to help a friend extract a very important citizen out of a now abandoned city. Originally I was reluctant to shoot the short because I didn't want to make it on a zero budget. However, at the time there were investors and distributors wanting to see what we could do firsthand. So working with no dollars means you have to find creative ways to get things done. This is the docks out in Geelong. They let us come up to the boom gate and use their boom gate for about an hour. So we're setting up some of the Reeve character right now and a little bit of his background. And in fact, what I often do with stories is set up the plot points in the very first opening scenes, as all stories should come full circle. So there's some interesting, this comes back to it later in the film, as you'll see. There we go, there's our camera gear in the shot there. And in fact, driving the car coming up here is our director of photography, Ben Helweg. I wanted to make sure that if I was doing this, I wanted to help others out wanting to work in the industry. In fact, this young actor here plays the character Erica. And I wrote the lead role here for her to help her get some industry experience. And she's now gone off to do some bit parts in different TV shows and other little things like that. The priest is Andrew Ward, a very good friend of mine. He was the lead opposite me in what was actually a Star Wars feature film, a fan film in fact, that we made when we were 19 and 20 years old. So actually before digital photography and everything like that, we did it all old school on videotapes and little cassettes. So here we are. This is a warehouse in Geelong at the time, which was being used as an antique marketplace. So with no money, you couldn't shoot car chases and things like that and drive around and block streets. So you look for places that look like, they can be used for car chases and things. So setting up here a little bit of the backstory between these two characters, Reeve and Erica. The idea here was to really try and make the Reeve character, a cross between a Batman or a Jason Bourne. So they're lurking and hiding in the shadows, appearing, out of nowhere, as he does in this scene. Sets up what we're trying to do with the character. So we're going straight into the action, learning little bits of information. James Cameron, I remember listening to an interview with him and saying, if you've got a lot of exposition and story to get across, always do it on the run and always do it moving. So it was important to get the exposition here. That key there that you just saw, I actually got from the USA, from my teacher in the USA when I went there to do some training with him. So it was, again, a little Easter egg there to see that. But yeah, back to the exposition. So we're telling the story on the run here. Just so it keeps it interesting rather than having people stand around and tell story. So this car chase was a shot, I think around 40, 50 Ks, which is fairly slow. But because you're shooting in such a tight place, it gives the appearance that you're moving faster. A lot of the low camera shots. We had the camera on the back of a ute, which gave us those types of angles there. And we actually borrowed some grips from a person in a nearby town who loaned us the grips so that we could stick it on the car. There's the grip shot there. So setting up story, finding out a little bit about these characters' past right now, and then setting up where they're going. It was actually a lot of fun driving around shooting this stuff. It was new to us all. We were just starting out and racing around and getting it done. So I'd already spent maybe around 2-3 years on the Ninja concept as it was, getting stories and, the company and things started that when it got to this point here of making the short film and going out and doing it, you feel like you're out there and doing it and making it happen. The effects were done by a guy named Michael, and at the time, again, he was a young guy starting out wanting to do visual effects in films, so the idea was that we would put one or two visual effects in here which were really decent, and we had the car shooting up, and later on you'll see the helicopter, which we'll talk about. But yeah, so the idea was to get some decent visual effects going and giving some people a go at this, and in fact we were looking at starting a visual effects company, which was still in the process of now. Here we go. So we had a little bit of rain on this day. You gotta remember, shooting over 4 days, the car chase was on day 1. This was actually shot on day 2. We had some great actors come down from Melbourne and some Geelong actors, all very excited and enthusiastic, and some friends playing the two gangs here. A Hungarian. He appears in the next two films, the next short film and the feature film. And in fact, that car appears in episode 4 now, the Ninja Interlude. And Tony there has been in all of the films, everyone that we've made. And that's what's been good about it, to be able to bring, really hardworking people across, and people that are enthusiastic and wanting to do these things, and just get out there and give it a go. There's nothing better than having an awesome crew around, helping out and doing the part, and just running around as a team, getting things happening. But crucial, getting your support team right. So here we are, building up the tension as the two mob bosses in a standoff to get to the priest. So we're lucky, we had some good cars, some people with some good cars willing to let us use them, and I'm really proud of this whole sequence. I had a friend, Sean Trait, who was looking to get into the stunt industry and all these sorts of things. So when it came to blocking this out, I let him and Chris Trait, who's actually the first AD now in the films that we're doing, really just block out what these guys were doing, where they're running from and where the other person's running from, just to give them the chance to have that experience, whilst we worked on the camera shots and the setup and the rest of the action. Oh, the ninja mysteriously disappears to go into action. So there's not a great deal you can say here other than everyone's really giving it their all. I mean, it was a cold, wet day here. It was freezing. The rain actually makes the production values look better. Here's our first visual effects shots. The bullets on the car. I remember being told this shot will be impossible to do because the car is moving and the camera is jerking around. But we got there in the end. It just took a fair bit of extra tracking work. Here we go again. As I watch this one and where the character goes, for myself, I can really see here the element I'm trying to get across of a Batman-style character who, is mysteriously appearing and disappearing, and getting the job done. This was great. I love Andy gets out of the car here and he just randomly says, okay, I'll get out myself, something like that. And it was so funny, I wanted to keep it in there. He's a classic, very funny, very talented, and makes some amazing videos on YouTube. If you check them out, Andrew Ward Fiasco, he does an amazing job there. Such a brilliant talent. So here we're losing light. It's actually getting darker and it is raining. And we actually have some sound issues on this scene here. The sniper and the dart there, CGI dart, as the mysterious sniper hides away. So the sound issues we had, we used a boom mic on this, which didn't really work for us. So the sound we captured was from the camera audio. And with no dollars, you pretty much, what you get is what you get. So we did a couple of sound dubs on these scenes, which you can tell is sound dubbed, but we made it on $300, and we did our best. The characters are really strong. We'd spent a lot of time training together to to get the characters to where they are, to do the physical training as well. When you're doing these things with $0, you don't get time to rehearse, you don't get fight choreography time and really much time to do anything. So a lot of it you're doing on the fly as you're going. And people have always commented on this one that the strength between the two characters and the relationship between them, it works. And you put that down to your work with people that you know and that you enjoy doing these things with. I mean, the priest, well, I love his character in this. And here we go, coming back to the first flashback. We got this church very early in the morning, one morning. In fact, we had to get in there before they had the church mass. But I was really wanting it. It's such a brilliant location. So here we are, catching up with the first meeting of these two characters when they're a lot younger. You'll hear in my voice in the flashback scenes in this one and in the feature film as well, The Immovable Heart, which is episode 3, the lightness of the voice and the difference in the character of what's actually going on, where he's at, how he's standing, how he's fighting even. There's been a lot of talk on the difference of the fighting styles in the progression of all the films. We're always exploring different things within the art, within ninjutsu, and within the characters as well. This is taking responsibility for yourself scene. So now we really go into the heart of the character. We've gone into the action and set up the story, and now we're going back in, and it worked really nicely. I used greens and really wanted to make sure that when he was in the flashbacks that you had warm colors and that it was soft fades and music and things like that, just to bring the heart and the characters out. People always laugh at this look there as he's obviously much younger and learning. And when we head back to now, the present, it's blue and gloomy, and maybe he's remembering back to a better past, and essentially he is overcoming the poison that he's had by the strength of his heart. In fact, we're hearing the heartbeat picking up throughout the scenes here, especially as it should be slowing and slowing, but he's looking back within and finding a reason to keep going, which I think we can all identify with at different times in our lives. What's been a different journey now, looking back at all of these, is seeing the progression of the character and the story and the style and evolution of what is taking place. And I look quite younger there. It's amazing, only 5 years has passed since we shot this first one, up until where things are at now, but it's been a massive 5 years of different things going on, and a growth, evolution, personal training journey within the film, within my own training of the art as well. That was the shedding of the skin moment. They say the character evolves and the hero's journey must shed his old skin of who he was to become something new. In a way now, he's heading towards those first steps of becoming the ninja. We're shooting this in Ross Park, the Good Guys in Geelong, and they were very, supportive, and we're very lucky to be able to shoot there. And again, it gives you such a different colour and different themes, and makes your production look like you've actually got some dollars when you haven't got any. So this is Sean, my friend, the stuntman, in his appearance as the sniper. So we're selling the idea of sneaking around and still trying to keep together, remembering the fact that, okay, maybe this guy is perhaps a match for our hero character. He's as quiet and as cunning, and is he as well trained? And the tables start to turn. So you've got to remember in this scene, and while this sequence all plays out, is that Reeve, the ninja, has been drugged, and here he is still, he's trying to get by and find this antidote, whilst going mono a mono with someone who's his match. And here we are. So you'll look there, still trying to keep within the character that he is dazed and dizzy and that things are going on. This was a brilliant reveal shot. Ben Helweg, who filmed this, did an amazing job. You know, we had no lighting, we had one camera, and we had no time. There it is. Such a hero shot. And Sean looks great on camera. He's not traditionally, an actor or pursuing the acting business, or, even pursuing the stunt business these days. He works with the police force. But here, such charisma. Look at that smile. Can they win? Yes, we know that this is probably not the most realistic knife fighting that you'll ever see in the world. But we were about trying to bring up the tension versus the realism in this piece. And here we are, my character is still dazed from the journey that's going on. And look, probably the fact too, you've got no rehearsals with these things. If we were rehearsing and using previs and maybe shooting and testing and the rest of it. But, it's not to say that you can't do that with no dollars, but you're very conscious of taking people's time versus what you're giving them, and always wanting to make sure that you're, giving and receiving equal in balance. I think I'll just take it from you. Slow motion. And it was important at that moment that we get the ninja message across of eventually the no fighting method becomes the fighting method. Suit up time. This is my nephew. We're down at Lammy's now, which is a pub nightclub in Geelong. This is a wonderful scene. Andrew was not there for any of this shooting except at the end of the day for a couple of scenes. So what we did was we shot all of the whole day shooting without him, and then we went back and got a shot of him with the actress there, and also a couple of shots of him looking around. And here the army guys are. This is where we really ran out of time. We had about 1 hour to shoot all of the fight sequence that was coming up here with no choreography. I've got Chris, Sean and Charlie here, who I've trained with for many years. I think even now Chris and I are up to 20 years training together in different dojos and different things. And, having guys that you work with regularly and can work with makes everything really easy. You've got a language and different things that you can do to make things happen quickly. There we go, I've got company. I brought backup. And there he is, the backup. And here we go. So we're looking really at some no choreograph here. We're looking at movements that were made up on the day and on the spot. And when I look back at where my training was at the time, I'm happy with it. You get to 5 years later and a lot of study, and you look back and think, okay, I could have done this and could have moved this way and done this. But, it is what it is at the time. Here they go. Kind of little things too when you watch these and think back of what was going on in the era. And this is the time of 24 and Jason Bourne and nunchucks and things like that were going on. So they're in there. We had a sponsor with nunchuck elements. Now, not traditionally a ninja weapon, not traditionally a Bujinkan weapon, but potentially, a ninja would use any and every weapon. Haven't used the nunchucks in any of the other films though. And there we are. So some very quick cutting there by the editor, John Balaz. And some great editing too. And that's what's good when someone coming in with fresh eyes who hasn't been there on the shoot or through any of the other process, and to get footage and to really just, get let loose with it and say, okay, let's see what you can do. Often if you're doing all these things, filming, directing, producing, etc., starring and the rest of it, by the time you get to editing, you can be quite tired. So having people at different points with, fresh eyes coming in and doing their task, the visual effects, as I said, Mike on this one, so they could really just focus on that one job, help get the result you need. I think by the time we got to episode 4, a lot of strategies and processes were in place, and the knowing how of being able to, get different types of coverage and things you can get away with and not get away with. Here we're on the rooftop just near the Geelong Council. We didn't actually have permission to be on this roof, and we did get kicked off this roof. So that staircase you saw was actually a different staircase. So here we are coming back to the plot point. When Reeve, the ninja character, first arrives, he sees that his friend and the priest are actually wanted. She's called him here for her own agenda and hasn't been quite truthful with him. Now, he knew that at the start, but still came along and helped her anyway, hoping at each point, I guess, that she would do the right thing. So the prelude, when I sum it up, it's really about being there for someone. The prelude is about being there for someone, even when you know they're not being completely honest with you. And in this case, it works against him, and he's left chained at the roof, the drama of it. Now here we are, the helicopter. That helicopter still baffles people today because the shot's moving and it's freely moving. If it was a lockdown shot with the tripod, it would feel much more like it's a visual effect. The other thing is that helicopter is actually a photo of a real helicopter. So you're looking at a real helicopter on a real moving shot, and the shadow's done in a 3D program and After Effects to give the illusion of the chopper blade shadow moving. So here we see that the ninja has in fact got out of the handcuffs. And you can read so many different things into what's taking place in that scene, what's really going on, whether she wanted to leave him on the roof or didn't. And we'll leave that up to the viewer. I guess here he's reflecting and looking back at what he's just been through and asking himself, is it worth it? And we say, no good deed goes unpunished. And sadly, from my experience, that's seems to be true. But we shall see what happens. I think with these films and everything, at the end of the day, you've only got to be able to look at one person and justify to yourself in the mirror what you're doing and who you are. And if you can do that, you'll always go around and do the best that you can. Some life wisdom. So there we have it. That was episode 1, The Ninja Prelude, a zero budget film made by us. So thank you. I look forward to, digitally being with you guys again on episode 2, Ninja Infinite Ways. Thank you. This is Rob Baard, the creator of the Ninja Universe.